Are you an overwhelmed recruiter? Yes, of course you are, because it's a crazy market. Check out this video right now for my advice on that. Hey, welcome to the Millionaire Recruiter. I'm Brian Rooney, your Millionaire Recruiter. And if you have not seen this channel before, it's all about upping your game as a recruiter. So I wanted to do a little advice session because I get a lot of amazing questions. I'm trying to get through them, but I love to attack just, I guess, the psyche of being in the recruiting industry, and it's not easy. It's a great career. It's fulfilling in so many different ways. If you've been in it, I don't have to tell you that, but there's a lot of ups and downs. I talk about the roller coaster a lot, but what's difficult is when you feel overwhelmed, because it's often recruiters do, how do you deal with it? And I think that's really important because a lot of people shut down when they're overwhelmed. They feel stress, they feel anxiety. There's all sorts of ways to tackle that on a physical, mental level, but I want to tackle it just on like the everyday. So I think, oh, and by the way, how am I going to do that? I'm going to tell you what I think a lot of recruiters do wrong, because if you know what people are doing wrong, you can relate and you can just, flip the switch on that one. So what I feel a lot of people do wrong is they try to take on too much. They get really super excited about different roles, and then they go, ooh, want to go to that role. Ooh, new role, I'm gonna go fill that one. That is the first thing that you cannot do. I always talk about not only finding your niche as a recruiter, but definitely have to be realistic about how many roles you can fill at one time. So there's a couple different types of recruiters. There's one who likes to focus on one role for, let's say, a whole week. So they're sourcing for one particular thing. And if that works for you, that works for you. Personally, I would get bored. There's another recruiter who likes to work on 3 roles in one day. That's very overwhelming. So that's the two opposite sides. One who's going back and forth through different roles, who's constantly being stimulated and having to do different conversations, having to pitch different roles, having to have different searches going on. And on the other side of the coin, there's this recruiter who is being very focused, but probably not stimulated enough. As a recruiter, we like to definitely move fast, do different things. And if that particular role that they've decided to focus on isn't the right role, you're putting your eggs in one basket and you're not finding results. And therefore that whole week was shot. And therefore now you're overwhelmed because now you have to start over on different roles. So two completely opposites to having that same end result, which is overwhelmed. So what I like to do, what I like to focus on, is I don't work on more than 2 roles at once, first of all, because I think even just that one additional one's too much. But what you could do is you could break up your day. You could have one role for the first, 3 hours and the other role for the second 3 hours. And I say only those 6 hours because you don't have to work long hours, but you also in between have to then do intakes, you have to schedule, drive process, all depending on what kind of role you're doing. But definitely break it up by the morning and afternoon. Now, if you don't want to do that, another good, I think, great suggestion is to do one role, but for only a day and a half to 2 days tops. Then you switch out a role. So then throughout the week, you are getting different people back on different roles, but you've already done that sourcing for them, which is super important. And then you actually get to see which either day, time was perhaps the best, which had the best response rate, because remember, recruiting is all about timing. So that's how you can decide on which role and which time of the day was the best fit for you. So that is a nice even. And then if, let's say you're working on, essentially you'd be doing 3 roles for the week, which is a lot better than doing 3 roles a day, 3 roles for the whole week, and you're not so overwhelmed, because if one of the roles that didn't happen to be the priority anymore, or the company hired on that one in that week, you're not upset because you had 2 other different roles that you worked on and 2 other pipelines you've built. So that's a crucial way to not feel overwhelmed. Another thing is, I know we all go, ooh, shiny penny, ooh, butterfly, but you have to calm down and be realistic on what you can and cannot accomplish. That you can very easily get overwhelmed by trying to do too much. And that's not just different roles. that's trying to overcommit yourself on other things. Whether or not you want to also build content on LinkedIn, you have blogs, you are also being coached. Like there's a lot of things that can come into your day, or maybe you're heavy on meetings. Maybe you have, 6 intakes in one day and you're still trying to source. Or what if you're then not getting your admin work done? Because as a recruiter, you do definitely have a lot of admin work. So you don't always have to do it right away. You could definitely schedule it out in your day, or maybe every other day in order to do admin work. That way you're not feeling overwhelmed. There's nothing worse than it being Thursday afternoon and you realize you haven't done any of the admin work yet and your Friday's pretty packed. And you're just freaking out and you're like, oh my God, it's the weekend, I have this planned, I have that planned. I'm not even looking forward to it anymore because I have all this stupid admin work to do, right? No one likes to do admin work. I guess maybe an admin, but not recruiters, right? Like we're moving, we're shaking, we're doing all sorts of things. So do not overwhelm yourself. Put that stuff in your schedule. Something that my coach had told me is even put listening to podcasts in your schedule, or reading the tech news, because I'm in tech, so reading the tech news or whatever persists to your particular industry. Take the time, put it in your schedule, because guess what? It is work. It will help you in your job. So in order to not be overwhelmed and not feel like, oh, I haven't gotten to XYZ yet, put it on your calendar. Be very intentional with your day and your week on what you can and cannot get accomplished, and you will not feel overwhelmed, I promise you. Okay, maybe a little bit. It's the recruiting industry, so you're gonna feel it a bit. But one last thing to leave you with is don't feel the pressure from other people to get the job done. What's crucial is that you have good work ethic, because I will tell you, if you do not have good work ethic, you do not move quickly. If you think too much, this is not the industry for you, 100%. This is something that you just have to move. You act on instinct. You don't know something, you look it up, you move forward, right? But if you're having someone breathing down your neck because you didn't get your 4 to 6 candidates out that week, then that a lot of people do shut down on there. So that's why you got to get ahead of the game. And I do not promote not having a work-life balance, but if there's that moment where you're just, kind of in it with your head, and you do have to put in those hours and you do have to put in more outreach, then that's what you have to do. But don't get down on yourself for having to do that. That's just the nature of the beast. Sometimes the role or the client isn't the easiest to work on. So you still have to get your job done. And again, if that's more outreach, and that just is what it is, or if that's switching up your messages, you want to do some testing with stuff, definitely do it and get that job done. But breathe about it, and again, be realistic, okay? Like if you're not getting it the first time, it's okay, you'll get it maybe the second and third time. So work hard, get that work ethic going, and definitely enjoy this recruiting industry, the talent acquisition life. There's so many roles that you can do in it, and maybe you just haven't found that right one. I know people who are badass sourcers, but they're not great recruiters. Remember, that's the difference, right? Or maybe there's amazing recruiters who just can't source to save their life. Find out what works for you in your niche, and then, go for that role and just go for it. All right, enjoy it, and I will see you every Thursday at noon. And one last thing before I go, I said in a couple videos, but the course is down right now. No one can purchase the course. I apologize for that, but I think that is a good thing. I always want to pay it forward, and I want to make sure that the courses, the modules, some of them do need to be updated, and not only with COVID, but just the candidate-driven market right now, and I want to make sure you're all prepared. So I will let you know when that's up and running, but thank you for all the inquiries on that one. That's what's going on, and do not forget that money is just the vessel that gets to do all the amazing things you want to go do in life, so enjoy it. See you next week.